Even as simple as like posts I put out on like my newsletters and even social media. I am taking data for all of those things, but most of those is for tied to a bunch of different objectives, not necessarily my own like um, competence or expertise, right? But you can tell yourself if you set some kind of target for yourself. And like I said, maybe you're indexing on other people that are actually like really good in your space and you're following them, you're listening to them, you're consuming the works that they've put out, like you're reading books, you're reading the newsletters, whatever it is that the content that they consume. Because for you to be a really good content marketer, you need to consume a lot of content as well. And then you also need to train your own muscle, your own content muscle. So you need to start writing a bunch of things. Um, producing content in different regards. It doesn't even have to be like just writing. It could also be like it could be video, it could be audio, it could be different formats, right? So you might have like, okay, I want to get really good at writing this kind of content, and maybe those are blog posts. And after a while, you also increase the bar and you move to the other formats and you take on other projects. And that also depends on where you are. If you're probably working in a company and you're able to take on additional responsibilities, that is some way that you can measure that, okay, you've actually grown personally, right? And this is not even tied to any external metric like, oh, the performance of your content, right? But just general, you being able to create these things could be some of the KPIs that you're measuring yourself against, right? So I think those are just some of the basic ways you can get stuff like that done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, James. So hi Adiola. I'm sure you got the answer that you needed. If you have a follow-up question, you can also drop it in the chat box, and one of our lovely speakers is going to answer it for you. So guys, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat box, and yeah, just drop your message in the chat box, and we'll get to them. Hi Lydia, I can see that your hand is up. Please ask your question.
Hi, good evening. Can you guys hear me? I think
Yes,
you
we
can see
can
me as
hear
well.
you.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi to all of the speakers. Thank you so much. I've been listening and it's been very insightful so far. My name is Lydia and I have been in the marketing space for a couple years. Now, there's a question I want to ask, and it's regarding a company that I'm currently in. So here's something that I think happens a lot in some companies, and it's currently impacting me. So I want to know the way out. You have a product and then you're reiterating. I mean, we know how the startup space works, and we're at a point where the product is about to relaunch. But now the problem is that a lot of the users, right, have a bit of lethargy. So it seems like they're dragging their feet, right? They're still in the communities, they're doing everything, but they're like, you guys promised to do this and you've not done it yet, right? And we're getting there. So this is a very critical moment, and I'm talking like Android is ready, iOS will soon be ready. And I'm here. I mean, I've spent the past 1 week trying to figure out strategies. I mean, it's a very lean team, so we do a lot and we're very skilled. But I want to know, I mean, I have brilliant people on here, and I really want to know what would be the best way that you suggest to rejig users' interest in the product. And because I mean, what's coming is really beautiful, right? So, what's the best way to rejig people's attention to what is coming and just keep them hooked, right? That is for some people would seem very simple, but this is something that I really, really have been thinking about. And I think that I'll get better opinions from experts like you on the call. So yeah, that's my question. I'll keep my camera on so you see my reactions when you're responding. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Lydia. Hi, Ladi. Are you able to answer the question?
Hi. So honestly, my audio cut off at some point, like in the beginning of the question. So I don't think I got the full question. If you can, I'm so sorry to drag you back. If you can repeat it, Lydia, that'll help.
That's fine. Hi, Laddie. It's good to see you. All right. So my question, I'll just try to summarize it. We're at a point where the company has been on for a bit, and the product has pivoted significantly. Now, what is coming is better than what already exists. And we have a bit of, not a bit, we have a reasonable level of user lethargy, meaning that the users are not so hyper as they've been because they've been hearing, we're coming soon, we're on our way, all of that. So now the product is almost here. In fact, Android is ready. iOS will be launched anytime from today. What is the best way to rejig users' interest, right? To make sure that we're not speaking to ourselves when the channels are open, that kind of thing. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for this question, because I actually have, like, I have an experience that is very, very similar to that, right? So when I was product growth manager at Motherboard, at the time I joined, we are called Rural Health, right? And before, the product only offered health insurance, and now we're moving. They're doing a full rebrand, built an entirely new product, which was why it was called Motherboard. They expanded. It was no longer just health benefits; it was employee benefits. Basically, it was a whole big thing. They were moving. The previous users were used to like an account managed model, right? Where you don't sign up yourself. Before, instead of you to sign up, you book a call, you talk to a salesperson. Then after talking to the salesperson, they will help you to set up your account and maybe send you the password. So most users were not even logging in to use the product, right? And then we had now rebranded to a product where you have to sign up and you have to do like everything yourself. So we moved to a self-serve model. And it was a big problem actually, right? I would say the first thing though is maybe I think it's a lesson that you probably have already learned, which is that engineering, don't trust any estimates that engineering or product gives you about when your product is going to be ready, right? Like, I don't start my marketing until they've said like it is ready, right? Like, I've seen it with my two eyes that it is actually working, because sometimes they'll put you in trouble and you'd have started saying, okay, we're launching by, if you know how many times you shifted launch dates, you say we're launching by this date, and then you're asking what's up and you're hearing different stories, right? So, but I think you've already learned that lesson. So that's the first thing. The second is you need to decide if those lethargic users, right? Those users who are no longer as excited about the product, if they are still the ideal users for this new product that you've built, right? So in our case, for example, the answer was no, because at first we were trying to move these people from that model to this model, right? And I had to they were used to talking to the sales team, right? So I had to get the salespeople to jump on a call with each and every one of these users to like talk about give them a demo and explain how they can use the product and all of that. And if I had thought about this earlier, I wouldn't have wasted all of our time, right? Because the fact is, the new product that we had built was no longer a match for those old users. So everything we're trying to force a new product into users who like, I don't say the product had gone beyond, but because of where we shifted, like our value prop had shifted to the point where our ideal audience had also shifted, right? So that was also like another lesson I learned. I don't know if that applies to you, because there are cases where the new product still serves these existing users, right? Like, it still fits the model. In our case, it didn't fit the kind of user that would want to call salesperson to help them to set up health insurance for employees. Is different from the kind of user that will sign up on the platform, that will upload like a CSV of their employees and just do all of it themselves, right? So that's another question you should ask yourself. Like, should you spend a lot of time, like, are they still your ideal audience, right? If they still are your ideal audience, then of course it then comes to how can you reactivate them. I think the first thing is first wait till the product is actually fully ready, right? And then give them, if you can, take the most power users, right, that you have right now, right? So the best users that you have right now, you can look at your data to give you the answer, right? The people that are using the product as they are meant to use it, and they are spending a lot or whatever, right? Whatever signifiers mark like power users in your own product. And so you can expose your product to those power users, right? Let them be the first testers of the product. So don't roll it out to everybody fully. Let those power users test it out, and then let them give you testimonials that you can use in marketing to others. So this time, they're not telling them, oh, okay, we've been telling you about this thing that is coming, now it's ready. Oh, even though we've been telling you it's coming, it's finally ready. This time around, you're showing them like real life testimonial straight up. They're like, oh, this person used this product, and like we gave them access for 2 months and it has helped them to achieve this and this and that. And so it makes it easier to convince them that, you are the product, like that they should be excited about what you've built essentially. So I hope that is helpful a bit for you. Yeah. I think that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Ladi. Hi, Lydia. Was that helpful for you?
Yes,
Yes.
it was helpful. I'm taking back the fact that I would have to go to my power users and see what we can, because the product is two-facing. So it's also, apart from it being B2C, it's also B2B now based on and like the pivot that has been made. So I've got it something that I can use. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lydia. Hi, Olalekon. I can see that your hand is up. The floor is yours. Please ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Trust we
Good
had a
evening.
wonderful day. So my question is just a food of thought. Um, as a marketer here, which would you value more? Would you value getting organic installs from your ad platforms that you're familiar with, like Meta, Google, TikTok, or would you rather get installs and traffic from an unconventional method? It is not the regular method like we running ads. It's just more of a method that works and is cheaper. But I'm trying not to, you know, go the wrong route. This is me right now. I'm trying not to go the wrong route. There's a platform that works for us in terms of our ads, but it is low, but it is organic um, traction. But then we found a new method that would give us the traffic that we want and is cheaper. I don't want to make the mistake of picking, something that whereby we would get these cheap users, but would they even be functional for our products? Where we run like life cycle marketing and none of them are even, converting. So as a marketer with experience that you have, what would you advise someone like me? Would you advise we still go with our organic, slow installs, or we should go with the fast installs that is very cheap?
All right. Thank you very much, Olalekon. Is there any speaker who wants to attempt this question, or should I just call somebody? Um, okay. Hi, Anthony. Are you able to answer the question? Hi, Damian. If you're speaking, we can't hear you. Are you able to answer the question?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me now? I was confused for a
Yeah, we
second.
can hear you now.
Yeah, I told me actually. Earlier. So sorry again to drag you back. I really just want the question to be taken again so I can like really go for it directly.
Okay, that's fine. Olalekan, please could you summarize the question for Damian?
Okay, sure. So we are currently running a B2C product. Let's just put it a crypto fintech product. We currently have active users. We have like a database of like, at least 20 to 30,000. So we do get our traction or installs from our organic platforms like Meta, TikTok, and the rest. Organic, but it's slow. Now we have found an unconventional way to get installs that is very cheap and fast. So as a marketer, which would you value more? Would you still want us to go with our slow organic installs, or we should go for the fast installs? But I'm skeptical. The reason why I'm skeptical is because of I don't want the situation where you know we drive in this amount of installs and we don't get conversion in terms of like, are these users even interested in the product? You know, did these users even get to install this product or this app voluntarily? We don't even use it. Imagine we have 100,000 users and 5% are not even converting. So I'm like, should we still pick that conventional way or we should stick to the slow organic installs that we already have? So we're just at that point of should we move forward or should we just, focus on our slow organic installs?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So first off, I think with marketing efforts like this one, some of the things that has to be sort of some of the questions you have to sort of answer like very early when you're going into things like this, like what is your dream? So based on your question, you're talking about like installs versus conversion. So what really is the true goal? Is the true goal getting an influx of users to download the app? Or like, are you really aiming for getting like quality leads that would definitely then translate into conversion? So first things first is aligning on the goal, like being sure what exactly you're trying to achieve. So when you say, because that would then lead to like answering deeper questions, like questions like what does the data say about the users you're getting from this unconventional means? Like, um, if do you have any like preceding data? Say, have you? I'm expecting that in some sense you got this unconventional news by maybe some recommendation. So you want to speak about or speak to whatever channel or person who recommended this quote unquote unconventional way of getting users to you to understand like what the conversion rate is like with users that are getting from that platform. So if you're able to get info on that, then you don't have to like circle back then, like I said initially, if you're trying to just get a number of people install your app and then maybe do a lot more work on like, because if these customers have now installed your app, you now have their data, right? So you could then like spend a lot more time on other marketing efforts to try to re-engage these users consistently, like reach out to them, SMS, push notifications, emails, whatever. Because you now sort of have their data, they now have your app on their phone, and you can then like target these set users to then get them to take certain actions or like eventually convert. So it's again, it's like a question of what your goals are. If you're trying to get installs, then I would say going the unconventional way before, because you that like it's fast, you get a lot more customers, then you can now layer an extra, like add an extra layer of marketing efforts to try to engage set customers that have now been referred to the platform. So again, yeah, I hope that sort of gives clarity. It's usually a question of what the goal is. Why are we setting up this ad? So if the goal is to get installs, then yeah, um, the channel that gets you an influx of customers will be one to go with. Now, you don't necessarily have to like again pick one for one, right? You can definitely try out both of those things, like the organic platform you're talking about, is slow. Like you want to figure out, like, oh, again, I would expect that since you've already been, like you're saying that the conversions you get from this platform is slow, you already also have the data on your end to know that if the kind of customers you're getting from your organic platforms already interact with the products, like does that already happen? So again, like I said, you're testing on both ends, you're verifying what your goal is, and then you're making an extra layer like a marketing plan for if you then decide to go with the unconventional way and get an influx of customers, you then do the extra marketing work of like engaging those customers to eventually take the action that desired action was that you require. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Limian, for that very detailed explanation. Hi, Olaliko. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, it does. Thank you very much, Damian. So I'm going to move to Joshua, but from here, my co-host is going to be handling the questions from here. That's Oluwadamilola Koya. Hi, Dami.
Hi, Team Talkman. Hi, everyone. Um, so I think we have Joshua's hand up. Hi, Joshua. Joshua Oritoglu. Can we have your question, please? Josh, you have the floor. Okay.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Please can you confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, you're very audible. I can hear you. We can
Great.
see you live.
Thank you very much. So I have a question. How do I market or advertise a product that does not have an immediate advantage or value to the buyer? For example, I want to sell pension to, of course, to young people because in 10, 15, 20, 30 years, we will be benefiting from pension. But it's quite difficult right now to pass that message, seeing that almost everybody has an experience where you've seen your dad not receive their pension, the time they're supposed to, probably 2 months, 3 months, and then it just lingers, and sometimes it just gets paid a bit of what they're supposed to be paid. So how do I sell that product now to people, to young people, that, oh, look, this is actually going to be an advantage to you in 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years from now? Please give me practical steps where I can use to sell this product.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. I think James should take this. Hi, James. Would you be willing to jump on this?
Yeah, sure. All
Okay.
right. So I think for you trying to sell pension to young people, right? I think pension already has a very bad rep. So you have a lot of things you're trying to fight, right? So it's going to take time. It is not a um one time where we're just going to do one advertising and we're going to sell pension to young people, right? It needs to be a continuous effort, and it needs to come with like community and storytelling. So I think a way to go about it is basically you're going to um, start a quite a long-term campaign to educate people, right? Because now, like I said, pension has the bad rep in the minds of young people. I've been paying for me, for example, I've been paying pension, I've been paying tax and all of that, and I'm not very happy about it, right? Because I've seen older people that did not eventually like were not able to get their pension, or there is like it's like the system is working against you. So like that is already a mindset that you need to fight against, or you need to convince people against that kind of mindset. Now, for this to happen, you need a very good story. You also need testimonials from people that can actually speak to it, verifiable, that okay, like maybe your own particular company that is doing pension, the story is different for us. I don't know what kind of pension you guys have been doing since that they've been trying to goad you into putting your money away, and eventually you're not going to be able to get it, right? But this is our approach, and it's very different. And you have like examples and testimonials, real examples, verifiable examples of people that have kind of um, put their money in your own pension fund or whatever, and that money has actually like done one or two things for them. How maybe at the point of their retirement, this money is actually now coming in to build them out, and they don't have to depend or rely on their children or having to come to the internet to come and beg for funds or whatever that story might be, right? So you need to. It's going to take a while. You're going to do a bunch of campaigns, and you're also going to need all of these testimonials and champions and real cases of people that benefited from your own pension fund, for you to be able to market this thing to the young people, right? And you're also going to be need to invest in a lot of education in that community of people, right? And there are different ways to actually do that community thing. You could actually start a natural group chat with people from like the smallest scale, maybe a small WhatsApp group of people that can share their stories, even including their fears of, oh, why should I put my money in pension when I can just spend my money now or put it in crypto or alternative means of saving money or whatever it is, right? It depends on you know your product better than I do. So you're going to do all of these things to basically start to build that community one after the other, and then come into so because if you're marketing to young people, you need to come into different places where there is use. They have challenges, so you can give them value right now that is not necessarily your pension fund, right? So that so basically you're going to support them in the things that matter to them right now, so that they will trust you enough to put their money in your own pension fund, right? So for instance, I don't know, maybe you might go after the remote working segment of people like us that work at home, and you provide, I don't know, whatever campaign it is that is going to be useful and relevant to us. Now that we're trying to do remote work, maybe you offer job advisory and support, career mentorship, or whatever it is, right? Even if it's pension you want to sell. But for you to get pension fund from me, I need to already have money to give you, right? So you need to come in and cater to the thing that matters to me right now, which is, oh, in fact, I need job right now. It's not pension that is my headache. I need to make, okay, now I have a job. I need to make more money. How can I do that? Then you come in, you help me with that too. And some other adjacent areas you can probably come in to provide support and help, genuine support to these people, because it's going to be an investment for you too before they sorry, it's just funny to me that it's pension, right? But yeah, like you understand my point. um I have let me not digress too much, but basically this is what you need to do. You need to come in now that they have other things that matter to them and show up now that that we're here for you. I think something like this is what GT Bank did early on when they were coming into the market, when we were like entering the university and all of that. It was GT Bank everywhere. They had this smart kids save account. I had a smart kids save account. At the time I could not really use banks, but they had the kiddies accounts that we could open, so we could put money inside, blah blah blah. So they basically caught us young, and I still like GT Bank is still my major bank today, even if we have like OP Money Points and all the likes. Even though like we will use all of them, but we still have the ones that are like major to us. So you get they found a way to basically enter into my mind at a very young age. Even if it's not like they're the best, but they're just there, right? It's just there. Like it doesn't even have to be better than the rest. Just like I'm already used to it, so why switch, right? So if you need to find a way to do something like that. I don't know what budget you guys have, but it's pension, is money, right? But you need to. It's going to take some time, but you need to build trust in the minds of people that already don't care about pension. I don't see any immediate value in it. So maybe that helps.
Thank you very much. I must confess, it really does help, especially the fact where you mentioned about the things that matters to our target audience, helping them get to
Yeah,
job. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
sure. Send it.
Right. Thank you, James. Okay, Precious, you have your hand up.
Yes, I wanted to add some to build on what James said. I'll try and keep it short. I don't know if I missed it or obviously you have like your product context, but I think one of the first thing that jumped out to me would be if depending on what your product is anyway, if you are addressing the correct market, like the correct people. For what I mean is if you have a product that has the range of the audience of a B2B2C, I would focus primarily on B2B. So like, what do I mean is if I want to offer pension services, instead of just trying to get individuals, by closing one big client, one big company, if I'm able to convince Money Point to use me instead of, I don't know, and what are these guys, ARM, Power Pensions, whatever, I have closed like 50 people. So it's a thing where is your marketing targeted? But again, it depends on your product. So because obviously, like James also mentioned, if your product is just targeting like creating pension funds for remote people, obviously that's not necessarily organizations. And maybe that one I would try to offer special pension plans to remote work communities in that kind of sense, right? I can just do like a partnership with certain brands that offer what do you call it? Dollar cards to people that are freelancers. You can I'm thinking of gig pay and clever and those kind of things. That would be like a place I would sort of target. Number two, also there's the angle of FOMO. So if your product was facing, if your product is able to actually face like companies and stuff, and even if I'm speaking to people in particular, I would come in terms of FOMO, like you're actually missing out on having pension. Let me explain why. Um, in the breakdown of the average, full-time employees compensation, your company is supposed to contribute, is it 15% towards your pension? That is money that is actually not paid to you. Is deducted from your salary every single month. So one thing that I would use as a as it's not lead magnet, as just a bait or magnet for those people is your company is currently pocketing your pension. Why not ensure now that you take full charge of your money and you use us to manage your pension? Because it could be the thing where if you joined a workforce early, you may not have what's the word? You may not have created a paycheck because you didn't know, right? So I'll just be like, there's 15% of my money with my company if I'm working in a place for 5 years, imagine how much 15% on a month-to-month basis is looking like accumulated, right? That's another angle I'll come in. Then the last one, so before I close up, would be if I am able to find differentiation with other pension partners. For example, if I have better interest rates on pension. So for example, if you're looking at PAL, ARM, whoever it is, if they just offer like a 5% interest rate year on year on the pension that your company puts into your account, you can say that, oh, with us you can get up to 15. Again, that is more product kind of conversation anyway. But if it's something that you can work with product team to do, if you offer 15%, obviously people are looking at ways. So sorry, this is the last point I'm going to say. So you can offer better interest rates and then you have extended services with that interest rate. So for example, what if you use me for pension, I have a credit system or a system where you can take loans based off your pension fund. So mind you, pension is supposed to be there forever, right? I mean, for a long time. And I'm going to just offer that you currently have 200K in your pension fund and you're not going to touch for the next 5 years, whatever it is, cool. You can take a loan maybe to buy your new iPhone, your new whatever with us because we add this extra benefit. For some people, they never touch their pension funds until they retire or stuff like that. But I can just make a deal where I'm able to just offer more incentives. Like, instead of going to a bank and getting like a loan at a 50% interest rate per annum, that kind of situation. Like, people drag some of these loan sharks for. I can say that with the money you've earned, you have enough to borrow against. So yeah, you may just want to explore one, some product optimizations in terms of extra product value. Two, explore FOMO. Three, who or what are you targeting? So yeah, sorry that was long, but that's what I was going to add to it additionally.
Thank you so much, Precious. That added so much more context. I see someone else's hand up, and I can't tell who it is. Before we move on to the next question. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Precious. That was wonderful. So the next question is actually something I think in fact, we could have all speakers talk about it. Because every single marketing guide that you come across, every low marketing guide that you come across tells you about micro and macro influencing. So the question from Charles is, I'd like to know what we think of influencers. I don't know if we think they really convert. It's the first thing everyone in marketing says to me, and I get a little disappointed that it's the first idea. What's the best way to really leverage them? So since we still have Precious in front here, I think you should go first, Precious. Then before we move on to another speaker, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay. So I think the first thing is influencer marketing is effective. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. But just like every other marketing channel, it is effective in the way you use it and what your goal is. And I'm just going to give you some practical examples. And I'm thinking, I think I've missed her name now. She probably has some other experience with influencer. But let me explain. There's a time when early days of Bumper, we wanted to just hit a particular acquisition number, to just boost up some investor updates. So we used an influencer who we knew was not going to really convert for us at the time, but we'll drive sign up numbers. That was it. We've not used that video ever again, ever in life. But that was it. That was a specific goal at the time. I worked on my CEO that these guys' audience it's not really going to give. And I promise you, that's exactly what happened. In droves did they come. But in droves, did they stay and just occupy space and not really convert as much? That's exactly what happened. Then compared to other influencers that I have used, oh my god, see, other influencers that I've used that drove. I had an influencer that I used her before she had blown up really, really well. And I remember that had over 1.5 million impressions. Like the downloads were crazy. And my ad spend was honestly negligible, honestly. So first off is influencer marketing in the conversation is what is the goal of the marketing conversation? If it's acquisition, then you can look at the big names. If it's acquisition and just looking at numbers, look at big names. For example, I'm sure everybody has seen Opay's, what you call it, Opay's security, yada yada yada, that kind of thing. Opay is a fintech. They have the money and they're trying to just gain awareness. You're not thinking you're saying that and thinking that Opay are going to start downloading Opay. Yes, it can be like a buy consequence of that, but the biggest is awareness. That's why you're seeing that the people they chose, you have Funke Akindele, Taoma, they are spending ridiculous money. That's it. Now, one of the common formulas that we see, in terms of conversion-led influencer marketing is usually first product market fit or influencer product fit, then influencer community product fit. What that means is you're looking at macro influencers who actually have influence on their community and the kind of things they say, the kind of content they create, the kind of things, whatever, it makes sense with your product. So at the end of the day,
in terms of influencer marketing, just understand that one of the biggest things, one of the biggest value you can get from any influencer is going to be awareness. Number two, if you're looking at conversion, you have to do a more painstaking job in finding the right kind of influencer, and I think aiding them to give you the best benefit. Let me explain something. I'm going to keep this short. I'm sorry. Last point. Influencers are. This may sound. We are live streaming, right? Okay, cool. Some influencers, they just got here because they are funny, they want popularity. They are not necessarily marketing conversion machines. They don't even necessarily know what it is. People just put money and say they're charging 5 million naira per skate because that's what other people are. And you can't ask them, show me the conversion from this last, like, in your, when they send you their rate card. Okay, how effective are you as a influencer? They can't tell you. So the first time, these guys don't necessarily know. They don't market profession. They don't know. They really don't know what a pipeline is supposed to look like, right? And number one, they can't provide you that kind of number. So it's also that thing where I feel like for some companies or businesses, you get an influencer and you just say, oh, just do this, and you just leave it. See, even on the best influencers, you will need to drag them by their feet, provide them with things they should or should not say in describing your product. You have to work with them without still trying to bring down their voice or their creativity. But is that thing where even for influencer marketing, you have to be them like every step of the way. It is not a show money at the problem marketing channel. It's a we're paying money, but it's also intentional every step of the way. Again, depending on the goal you have. So I think it's effective. I just think it's if it's done well, that it would work. But yeah, that's my response to that.
Okay, thank you very much, Precious. Hi, Adio. Would you like to speak to this as well?
Yeah, sure. So, I guess this is Charles's question. I totally
Yes.
get the skepticism. I'm not the biggest fan of influencers, but maybe because I have my own personal bias. How do I think influencers work? I think I agree very much with Precious. Like influencers are very good for awareness. I believe that. But for conversion, I don't think so. And obviously, like the life cycle stage, I'm not sure that they're the best people. I know that yes, people would say, oh, the best way to reach people is to use influencers, but I don't agree. I personally believe that what's important is focusing on distribution and then getting your customers to actually, have word of mouth. I can take a personal example. For instance, I was just talking with my friends about a week ago where I was like, oh, lifestyle brands they're going crazy on influencer marketing right now. I'm very big on skincare and beauty products, for example. But will I ever buy any of these products? I don't think so. You're spending hundreds of thousands of naira sending PR boxes to influencers when I'm your target market, I'm your customer. Like, I just feel like you don't care about me. So why should I buy your products? That's my personal point of view. But I've always been like, we should always focus on distribution. And how does distribution work? Who are the closest people to your customers, real life people that they trust? That should be a much better strategy for how you can get closer to people. And of course, your customers being word of mouth. So thinking of, product strategies of how can we get our own customers to be our word of mouth? How can we get them to speak for us? And how can we get them to, sort of be our distribution strategy as well? So I think one of the things I really like for products that are just starting would be things where they say, oh, if you sign up, you get about 100 naira, some sort of aggregation strategy that just makes people think that, oh, they are working for you and they're making money off you as they tell people about their products. So there's some sort of incentive and they're inclined to be a part of it. But for Charles, I'm not sure what industry you work in, but that's my belief is definitely, focusing on distribution and customers being word of mouth.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Adirayo. So I think this has really been plugged on, and we can move on to the next question. So we're taking Cindy's question next. So Cindy's asking, hello, I work with an edtech company and we're planning a week-long Black Friday sale for our self-paced courses. what's the best way to announce this sale and spotlight all our paid courses so we maximize visibility and conversions. I was thinking of starting teasers by late October, but I'd love suggestions on timing, channels, and promo tactics that work well for e-learning sales. I think what we should, Damian, this is something you'd like to take, particularly on the Black Friday angle when it comes down to offers and whatnot.
Yeah, sorry, take that again. Sorry, take that
All
again.
right, so I'll take the question again. So it says, hello, I work with an edtech company and we're planning a week. Yeah, edtech. Yeah. And we're planning a week-long Black Friday sale for our self-paced courses. What's the best way to announce this sale and spotlight all our paid courses so we maximize visibility and conversions?
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to get a couple of other things you mentioned. Did you say health tech?
Head, as in education, edtech.
Education. All right, edtech.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they're planning a week on Black Friday sale.
Black Friday sale. Yeah, for their courses, the courses they offer.
Yeah. Go on, please. They're planning a week-long
Okay.
Black.
Black Friday sale for our self-paced courses. What's the best way to announce this sale and spotlight all our offerings so we maximize visibility and conversion?
Oh, best way to announce the sales. Okay. So first things first, I would expect that, although let me also just open a separate tab. I had something to say about content create, the influencer marketing thing. I'll probably come back to that after this. But first things first, I think where you want to start is like, I would expect that already you have different channels with which you communicate with your customers. You already have some type of knowing on where you get the most conversion, things like social media. If it's edtech, you probably have a way of communicating to customers who are already on your platform, so some type of push notification, right? There's also your other communication channels with your customers. Like I've talked about social media, I've talked about PNs now, there's emails. You could extend this to even like SMS, right? You can also even consider, so channels that already exist, like first things first is to like sort of get the information out there to your customers who are already like, active audience, people who already pay attention to the kind of content that you roll out. So you want to take advantage of your pre-existing communication channels, right? And then a lot of work would then go into like setting up ads, depending on how far you want this news to go, like ads across all the platforms that exist, Meta, Snapchat, TikTok. Also, again, like I would expect that you already have like some sort of data with where your ads perform the most. So you definitely will be creating like visuals. Obviously include into your visuals also, right? So the entire idea is to speak with customers across as many channels as you can get advantage of, right? So these are like some of the, low-hanging fruits, like I mentioned, things like social media, like definitely you want to put out some type of post about this. A series of posts also, because you had mentioned that, the question carefully highlights that this is a week-long Black Friday sales type thing. So posting would definitely need to be consistent. Then you would have to come up with like some type of marketing plan for to sort of curtail how many times you would be, communicating to customers via all the different channels that you have existing. Basically create some type of rhythm for how you want to communicate throughout this entire 1 week process. So it's really just it's a thing of understanding the channels you have, and if there are channels that I've mentioned that are sort of not in the channels that you already have existing, that you want to include some of all these things. There's also the network of like having what would you call this now? Like having I think this is the part where I was going to say like sort of come back to the influencer marketing conversation. Now, depending on how far you'd want this Black Friday, because again, the entire reason for wanting to run any kind of Black Friday campaign is to get an influx of like, say, customers, signups, and all of that stuff. So depending on how far you would want this to go, you would want to also like partner with people who are already like with influencers in some sense that sort of like I think like Precious was already mentioning that who create content that's more tailored to the industry that you're working in. So you would want to work with people who already have some type of influence. This would definitely help with reach, right? Because what you want to do is get this news as far out as possible. I think I see some people talking about like referrals and stuff. Yeah. I mean, all of this are included into the gimmick of what it is that you're saying, like what it is that you're communicating. But so best way to do all of this when you've done your content bits and you've come up with what it is that you want to say, you then have to figure out all the different channels that you want to say these things through, like social media and the likes, like I mentioned, like emails, push notifications, depending on the customers you already have on board. Influencer marketing, if you're looking to reach like a much wider audience, depending on your pre-existing customer base, because most of the other comms that you've done is directly to like your existing customer base, right? And then considering running ads also. Again, like beyond just running ads, I mean, I think one of the things that definitely determine how far you would be willing to go with like pushing this kind of thing is definitely things like how much budget you have, and then like what reach you're actually trying to get to, because you could also engage in a lot of media buyings on like other blogs or like platforms that actually already exist, that have communities who are like pretty diligent to the kind of content that they roll out, and then you could also like buy media spaces on all those platforms. So again, it is a thing of like what you're trying to achieve, like how far you're willing to go, and again, like what your budget size looks like, and then you would want to that would help you like sort of get to the points that you'd want in a sense. I think like I was saying something about how I wanted to speak to the entire influencer marketing conversation. I know I think like Precious mentioned the idea of like having to hold these people by the hand and then walk significantly through what it is that you're trying to achieve. That's really what the work is like. These guys are really just bent on sending rate cards. And the best that you would get from most of these people, like Precious also mentioned, is like awareness, right? A lot of them also end up converting depending on the amount of influence they have on their audience and how correctly your product syncs with that audience. And then there's also the bit of like taking this an extra step. Like, I mean, depending on the kind of contract that you're signing with these influencers, you could also cover sections where this whatever content or media file that they're creating for you can also use it as ads. I mean, some of these creators don't they would probably charge a little extra for those kind of conversations, but it makes sense that when a content creator posts content for your brand on their page, they get through to their own audience, right? So you have a shared audience experience where your brand is now being shown to like whatever audience they've been able to create over the years. But depending on how deep the contract you have with that content creator is, you could then also use that same content as ads, which would then reach newer people, right? And if this content creator has like a really fun, like unique way of making their particular content, then yeah, you would be definitely reaching like more people in that sense. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much, Damian. Wonderful insights. Charles, I see you have your hands up. Is this related to Cindy's question? Hi, Charles. Okay, so we don't hold the line too much. We'll probably circle back to that. So we're taking Rita's question next. Rita says, I'm working for a startup that's focused on helping young people start and build good habits using an app that's launching soon. Please, what strategies do you suggest I use to help promote the brand and also get numbers when the product gets launched? So I think, Lade, would you be willing to take this?
Yes, sure thing. So, I mean, first I should say, sorry, I'm so sorry. Please give me 1 minute. I have to attend to something
No
here.
problem. Okay, no problem. Okay. Precious, while we're waiting for Lade, would you like to give something quick on this?
The question was, Habits,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
Is that
working
a
for a
good
startup. Yes.
right,
Yeah, I'm
right?
working for a startup that's focused on helping young people. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Would you
This
like
is
me to take the
product.
question again?
No. Don't I remember what
Okay.
I was taking a double take about was I'm not necessarily sure what the product is like. Um, unless you know there are these apps who are just simply like fun apps where it's like, oh, okay, I would remind you to take water and stuff. It's like when you say habits, where is the money in that? But again, your product is not necessarily the question here. But if it's such a for pardon me, I am currently grouping this into a fun app because again, if you are describing the value proposition as building habit and not like a direct like value ish, I would my immediate reaction or my immediate thinking is you need to make it cool. You need to make it cool. Again, what I understand is you've said that you are helping people to develop good habits in that kind of sense. And the thing about habits is if I would know, it's hard. It's hard to build, it's hard to make something a habit. And it's not the what's the word? It's not a fun topic. It's not tied to money. So what are the value proposition we are creating around that? Right. So first off is I don't know if you already have your audience on lock, but if I'm thinking of habit, I'm just thinking where those people are. So if it's about habit, is it addictions? Is it being punctual? Is it whatever? If it's punctuality or maybe doing assignments on time, I'm looking into student communities. I'm trying to either penetrate into student events and stuff like that. If it is helping professionals do whatever and stuff like that, I am looking at what events are they at and stuff like that. Sorry, I think there's something I may. Okay, cool. So to promote the brand and also get numbers when the product gets launched. So first it is I feel like for your launch, this is just my opinion. I feel like an event would make so much sense because it's giving me the vibe is giving me is like mental health conversations, where people talk about stuff and life and stuff like that. So, but the first thing, and I think I've said a lot of things, but let me just try and list it out for you. One, you have to make it cool. Two, this is going to rely ridiculously on community. Um, and again, I'm just speaking with a broad knowledge of what you may be referring to as habit here. But if it's supposed to be good habits in that kind of sense, it could be etiquette, it could be overcoming addiction, it could be just trying to do a better life. And community is going to be the key to that. You just think about how Reddit functions. Reddit, Nairaland, all those kind of things. I will try to, but it's a Nigerian one. So it's either I am just looking at where do communities belong and how do I start conversations consistently around people. Look at the way to create community around people who fall into these things. I promise you, the person has a bad habit is most likely Googling, oh, how do I become disciplined? I know I did that when I was in secondary school. So that's the thing. Now if I was to give you actionable words instead of just speaking all over the place. How you promote the brand? Again, community and people. I don't know if you guys have money, but you probably so if anybody can probably even relate to having good habits, trying to change their lives is influencers and these kinds of people. That's one. But two, again, depending on the habit, I would look into student communities. So if it is faculty presidents, if it is whoever it is who talks to people that people look up to, I'm looking at people magnets. I'm trying to use them to push my product. Hey, guys, for example, I can just imagine like a J Bombs who has this I don't know. Some people just have this almost cult-like adoration of their being, and or Temi, global Temi, those kind of people. Um, talk about bettering yourself, being a whatever that kind of thing. I'm also hosting conversations. So if I'm doing webinars, I'm doing lives. What else am I doing? Webinars, live spaces, just having conversations. I may want to explore a podcast, a wellness podcast. Today is not where it is for nothing. This is a lot of things, but I just feel like there's a lot of things you can play with for this particular product. And when you want to launch, I'll just think of like social media, anything around communities, probably what I would look in terms of launching that product. Yeah, it's Volade, so let me just leave it right. So I think that's just a broad answer that I would probably give regarding that.
Okay, thank you very much, Precious. Hi, Ladi. Welcome back.
Hi, sorry guys. My cats were fighting, so I had to quickly run.
No problem.
Yeah, so I think Precious already said first, like a lot of the things I would have said as well. Um, I think it needs to be like very clear what you mean by good habits. And like if it's not clear in you trying to describe it in these charts, then it means that you need to make it clearer when you're explaining to other people what exactly it does. Because like Precious said, good habits is very vague. Like, are you talking about things like that help with productivity and career, right? Because that's a separate thing than people that are thinking of like good eating habits, right? And healthy habits, for example. Like, so there's like very separate groups of people. So that's one thing to think about. And I think that then means that you need to decide, like, once you've decided what you mean by good habits, then decide, look at like who are the kind of people that are currently like actively trying to practice those kind of good habits, right? Like whether they are succeeding or not doesn't matter. As long as they are trying, it means that, or they are looking to try, it means that your product is going to come in as a good solution for them, right? So if there are categories of people that are trying to do this kind of thing, so you look for them. And one of the ways that you can find them is, for example, like what Precious said, community is going to be very important, and I think you can start early. So, for example, it could be like if your good habits are around things like mindset shift, for example, then it could be like you create, okay, 30 days challenge of doing this and that, right? You know, there's different types of challenges like that. So you create it almost like I think they call it like a master, is it a master class or I forgot what they call it, right? But there's this concept where like, it's like a group of people that have like all of them want to achieve certain goals together and like push each other to achieve it, right? So create things like that like early on before your product even launches, like already start using that to get people to recognize you as like I won't say authority, but yeah, as like an enabler within that space, right? So enable those kind of conversations, create groups for whatever different challenges people are doing, 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, and then retain the data from all of those people, right? And start like basically it's community engagement. Just make sure that you are constantly top of mind with them. And so after you've been enabling this kind of conversations with them, when you come and say, oh, we've built a solution, right? They don't even know that you've been building it while they've been talking. So you can impress them more by making it seem like it's an outcome of the conversations. Like, oh, like everything you guys have been saying here has been so insightful that we decided to build a solution around this and this and that, and then you push it. And because at that point you've built the trust, like you're like the person they will go to. You already, at that point, you would already even know the leading voices, right? The influencers or whatever that people are listening to in that space. So it's going to be a lot easier for you. I'll just stop there. That's pretty much. I think Precious already did a good job covering most of it.
Yes, thank you. And you as well. Thank you, Ladi. All right, so let's proceed to the next question. It's from Kelsey. Hope I pronounced that right. Says, I work as a customer service manager at a fashion retail company, but I studied mass communication in the university. How can customer service insights like complaints, FAQs, or buyer feedback be better integrated into marketing strategies? What are the ways to leverage customer support data for shaping marketing campaigns? And how do you balance customer feedback with creative marketing ideas that may not come directly from customer requests? Hi, Adirayo. Would you take this on?
Yeah, I'm reading. So I work as a customer service manager at a fashion retail company, but I studied mass communication in the university. Hey, Twin, I studied mass communication as well. How can customer service insights like complaints, FAQs, or buyer feedback be better integrated into marketing strategies? What are the ways to leverage customer support data for shaping marketing campaigns? How do you balance customer feedback with creative marketing ideas that may come directly from customer requests? Okay, so I think it's a really, really interesting question. And this is how I see an answer to it. So you've gotten customer support data and you've seen that, there are certain issues that customers have, or there are certain questions that come up over and over again, or there are certain habits that customers have that you're trying to change. So one of the things that I really, really believe in is behavioral marketing, right? So you're trying to understand your customers and see where their complaints are, what their questions are, like how those things influence, like, some of the things that you do. For a fashion retail company, I would say maybe one of the issues that you have is probably maybe people not getting their sizes right, because I like to believe that that's like a very big issue. Like, oh, let's say I used to be a size 6 and I've added weight and I still think I'm a size 6, and I order a dress in a size 6 and I have an issue in a size 8. What can you do, to add these strategies to your your content strategies? What I would do is, first of all, is to do like maybe a content series, just addressing these particular questions, because you have to treat customers like babies, because at the end of the day, customers feel like they're always right, but that's not truly the case. So maybe what I would do is find a way to educate these people with an educational series. Oh, how to get your measurements. What's the fastest way for a complaint? How can you escalate certain things? So those are some of the strategies that I will put in place into one of the content creation metrics. And how can you incorporate creative marketing ideas? I think fashion is one of the most beautiful places to work in. Like, I'm jealous. See, jealousy wears me bucket cap every time I meet somebody that is working in like fashion or lifestyle or any of all these really interesting places. Not like me that are working in fintech. My dear, fintech can be very boring. I'm like, you have so many creative opportunities, almost 1 billion trending things, although I do not like trends, but 1 billion trending things you can jump on because it's just fashion and it's lifestyle. How can you incorporate lifestyle into fashion is always what I say, because if I'm following a fashion brand, it's because I love the fact that, oh, they have like a lifestyle risk thing going on. So you might want to look into that, as well as you might want to do your research and find out, what other people are doing that are similar to what your brand does. For example, I always tell people that join my team not to look at Nigerian brands. I know that, yes, we have Nigerian competition, but I don't compete with them. So give me 5 brands that are similar to mine in different continents. That is not Nigeria. You can go to East Africa, that's fine. But I don't want to see any brand in Nigeria. Look at what other Western brands are doing and see how they incorporate lifestyle into what they are doing. And then, because I always tell people that no idea is, or no creativity is new. You just steal from here, you steal from there, and you put it together. There's nothing that you're doing. Just like what I really love to tell people. I know one of the questions that were asked earlier was, our CVC announcement. I got my inspiration from Dove. Dove is a skincare brand. When I was looking at execution for our announcement. So look at other brands and see what they are doing and see how you can incorporate it. You can be creative in every way, but one thing that you don't want to do is that you don't want to dump too much data into your creativity. You want people to be able to relate to the things that you're saying. You want people to be able to understand what you're trying to say at the same time. And you do not want to put too many things into the creativity as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much,
Sorry, that
Adebayo.
hi,
Okay.
Dami. Please don't
Yeah.
mind me. There's just something just
No
came to mind
problem.
because
No problem.
this for Kelsey. Because I believe that customer support or success is a marketing arm, right? So I'm actually ridiculously happy with questions like this, because someone like this is who I think is like a stellar customer support person. So to add to like the amazing things that Adira you already mentioned is and she already mentioned don't put too much on your creativity, but another thing also is you should also realize that it's not all customer feedback that is great, actionable points. Customers sometimes don't know what they want. Customers can ask you for the snake in the mocking shadow, and if you take that into cognizance, they're not going to buy that kind of thing. But that being said, I don't know if you're going to have a process, but a process I would probably suggest is one. Let's say you have like a daily or weekly tracker. Let's say you have it could be as simple as a Google sheet. Put in your top either queries or feedback. Put it there. And what that can now do is you have that sheet, and whoever the marketing person is, you can set up a weekly call and you just discuss these are the most asked questions, or this particular product as it gave us the most shares or the most saves and things like that. And what that does is you're able, for example, if in a week we posted 10 outfits and one has the most likes, shares, and stuff like that, even if the sales are not necessarily commensurate, it's that thing where we can look into, oh, should we run more ads around this, or is there something, if we want to do sales next time because he has so much interest, like we can, what's the word, offer 20% discount at doing Black Friday. Or it could be that thing where if you release a product and on the social media platform people are saying stuff like, oh, is it available in red? And if there were more red requests than maybe blue, what that can do for the marketing team or for the in-house production is, hey, when we are restocking this thing, let's buy more red than blue. right? Then the other thing I was going to mention is one interesting thing, which is copy again from Meta and Co. is almost everybody is now adding this create a real, in response to a comment thing. So it's definitely something that it may not be you that would do it because maybe you're in customer support, but it's that thing where you can help that person by highlighting this comment is very interesting. Even this person is either dragging us, or this person is saying, "Oh, I love this thing," and you are creating a video, you can just highlight that particular comment and create a reel or create a video responding to it and stuff like that, and then things just sort of compound from there. And I'm saying this because I've done stuff like that before. So that's just the other thing I was going to add to every other thing that Rayo has mentioned.
Okay, thank you very much for adding that, Precious. Sure, Kelsey found a lot of insights in that. Okay, so we're taking Mistura question next. Hi, Mistura. Mistura, are you still
Hi.
here?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
here.
hi.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. It has been a great session so far. Okay, so my question is, I just joined a real estate company and they've been existing for a real long time and they have good products and they are actually not known at all. Their company is not known. You can't mention it and anybody to strike a chord in anybody's ear. But their product is well known. It is well known and I just got in and I'm thinking that we need like a real brand awareness that we need to come up with and all. But I don't know how to actually go around it because I know it's a whole lot of rebranding, social media and um other plans that would take time. So I really don't know how to go around it to announce the brand itself and actually build a community of people of clients that would one day be responsive and we can convert. How can I go around that? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question, Mistura. Hi, James. Would you tackle this?
Yeah, I actually have more questions than I have in hand. I have the answer to what
Okay.
Mr. is asking. So it's a real estate company. It is not a known brand. It's not P1, so it doesn't have bad rep. You're starting from scratch in a clean state, I think. You say you have good product. I have more questions. You say you have good products. Like what exactly are the products? Is it like you have property for sale that are actually good, or is rental property?
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay, so they actually have a cooperative estate, a cooperative estate kind of. So it's very well protected. It's still land. They have a land product. Is well protected and every other. And they have another product that is for residential and also for commercial use. And they are in partnership with the Lagos State government. So they provide housing relief for you. So maybe like a lease and also the land that is available is like an estate on its own. So you don't have the issues of money and all. And
Mm.
so far they've been having good customer. The customer base has been good, but the brand itself is really, really not known at all. That is not
Okay.
known. I mean, the owner is not big on that.
Okay. Interesting. So I think what I'm getting from you is that you said you have like you're in partnership with the Lagos State government or something like that. I think you should lean into that more because just generally hearing real estate company now is already problematic. So if you want to come into the market now, you should milk out to the maximum extent the partnership you have also with the Lagos State government and say, okay, you guys are actually like verified. Maybe that way you'll be able to sway some of the people that have already like lost trust in some of the other real estate companies that have been called out recently, and that way you can enter the market. So assuming like you want to go after existing customers who are already in the market to either buy or lease properties. And this is your angle. You guys are actually licensed by the Lagos State government. You have all the documentation and verification. So those are some of the things that you will be singing in your marketing, right? Then in terms of like channels, um, I can't say for certain, but like you're going to use a bunch of them, including social media and even like people on the ground, field agents or thereabouts. You mentioned something like cooperatives, estates, and all of that. There are ways to get into like communities of people that are actually interested in like landed property. You can do that on social media, but you can also do that with like physical channels as well. And maybe partnering with some other agents and giving them cuts, like incentives and commissions for bringing people to your own products or thereabouts, right? So those are just some of the ways I'm looking at how you can do it. But definitely one of the major things you guys are going to be hinging upon is just that your Lagos State government partnership and the fact that you guys are verified and all of that. Those are some of the things you plaster everywhere to just make sure that you're able to win trust from people that are already in the market to buy. That's what I think.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that.
Okay, all right. So I think we'll just take Charles's question next before we start running. Charles, you have the floor.
I don't know why it's suing Charles. My name is Issy and I'm a girl.
Apologies.
Hi everyone.
Apologies.
Okay, so I think my question is just around building brand affinity and brand loyalty for a brand I currently work with that's in the home luxury home goods space. An issue they've been having is, or an issue we've been having is just trying to get Nigerian customers to connect, just especially because in terms of the assets that I use for marketing from these brands, they are very heavy on the white people, for lack of a better way to say it. And that sort of hurts the marketing. Also because there's a lot of restriction around the original content we can develop as well. And we can see that Nigerians are not just connecting, right? Great brands, great home brands, Christofle, Baccarat, all that kind of stuff. Great mid-market products as well in terms of affordability. But people are not connecting with the content. And I just want to know how to approach building that sort of bridge with the Nigerian customer. Yes. I mean, I see what Polo does, and we've tried to do what Polo does, but I think Polo is unique, but Polo Avenue is unique because it's close. But because this is more home goods, it's just a bit difficult, and I would love some insights on how to sort of just improve that community connection, that connection to the business. I don't know if that the question is clear. Also, again, not Charles, Issy.
Okay, thank you, Issy. Damon, this is up your alley. Hi, Damon. Are you still with us? Okay. Adirayo, is this what you'd like to take?
Hi, Issy. When Issy was speaking, the only thing that came to my mind was partnerships. And I think as Nigerians, or, just right now, we are getting into partnerships and you're seeing brands collaborate more and do things. I'm not very big on the luxury, what would I call it, in the luxury industry. But one thing that I know that works is partnerships. You're trying to, get into the community of those that, what's the word, that already use luxury and all that. So you're going to have partnerships. Find partnership that works where you can leverage that community. So you need to find ways in which you can plug yourself to that community, right? And that's where partnership comes in because it's a win-win situation for everyone. So how can you excuse me. How can you leverage your products and how can you get a partnership that's a win-win as well? That's the first thing that came to my mind, and that's like the only answer that I have at the moment. So I believe that partnerships would be good. It's very good to penetrate community building because if you're trying to penetrate community, you have to steal from other people. That's where you start from there, and then you begin to do things that you're able to to leverage that community that you've done.
All right, Issy. I said that should
And then I think
take
I
care
want to say is that luxury is very niche, right? luxury is not for everybody. So I think it's important that people actually realize that not everybody is your target audience. And like I always tell people, the HNIs, the rich guys, they're not where you will sit. You have to be very strategic to how you are going to get them. So if you see like Polo Avenue now, they're at the right places, at the right events, sponsoring the right things. I don't know if you have a budget for that, but that's something that you're going to have to look into, and how you can leverage partnerships and how you can tell that story from partnerships as well to reach the right people, be in the right, PR base. So PR and media is such a good thing as well for people in luxury. So you have to be in their faces at the right place and at the right time.
Okay. Thank you, Adirayo.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thank you so much. That answers it perfectly.
Okay, so we're really pressed for time, but here's what we're going to do. So Sylvia's question, a quick one, quick fire, and then we'll take Joy's, and then we're done. So Sylvia's question is more on the personal level. I run a business and I observe that I'm not getting to my target audience. I noticed through comments I see on my page and posts, and the platform I'm referring to is TikTok. Please, what can I do to correct this audience? So I think there's a bit of an audience mismatch for Sylvia, if I'm right. I think that's what she's trying to say with her question. And yeah, does anyone want to take that? Anyone?
Let me see.
Okay, yeah. So she's saying she's having an audience mismatch on TikTok.
So the question is,
I guess,
my own question would be, I don't know, Sylvia, are you sure you should be on TikTok? That's my first question, because I'm not sure what business this is. And it's one of those things that I tell people, that not every social media is your channel, right? So you're seeing an audience mismatch on TikTok. Are you sure your business should be on TikTok? Are you sure that you should not just stick to the regular social media channels? But then as well, if you're having a audience mismatch, that's it. You have to do your research. Why do I have the audience mismatch? Am I feeding them the wrong content? Am I feeding them the wrong information? Should I actually be here in the first place? So I think that's my question. I don't know if Sylvia can speak. Maybe if you could say what business you run. Oh, it's a perfume store. It's a perfume store, to be honest. Sylvia, leave TikTok. Just go and create content about different types of perfumes. I don't think TikTok should be a place for you to expect sales per se, but TikTok will definitely be a place for you to build your community. So I don't know what type of content you create. You can create like very niche content based off of the different types of perfumes, affordable perfumes. I know some people do perfume reviews and all that. You could try that on TikTok, but I'm not sure if TikTok is a base for sales. But TikTok is strictly a content app. So you might want to just strictly use that for content to build your community. And then from there, see if, there's sales. I don't know what your content strategy is at the moment, but it should just strictly be building a community, letting people know that you exist, and, just having fun. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Adira. I think I can attest to that. I think you should be better off on Instagram when it comes down to connecting with the audience. All right, James, you have your hand up, and then we take Joy's question, and then we can sign off. Hi, James.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. Like, so if you have a perfume business on and you're using TikTok, there are many possible reasons why you notice like you're not getting the right audience, and that might also be from your interactions. I know lots of business owners that use like Instagram and like even TikTok, kind of forget to use a personal account if they want to interact on those platforms. They use their business account to still comment on different posts and follow different types of gist and stuff like that. So it might be that your interactions on the platform are signaling to the algorithm that, okay, this is the kind of stuff you like, and these are the kind of people that they're also sending to follow your page. That's one. Two might also be that your content that you're creating is not really speaking to the right people, right? Um, Another thing is that like definitely for social commerce, Instagram is actually better, and you can actually use advertising on Instagram as well to supplement your organic efforts, whatever that might be. But for TikTok, it is more of a gist platform, and for it's fun and games and gist. So that's where most people that do like social commerce still come to tell us stories of these were some of my experiences with my customers, or there's this time I made this, blah, 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 blah. So stories, right? Stories that still relate and within to your business and allow people to still follow your community and your brand in that context on TikTok. So people are looking for gist on TikTok. They're probably going to be more open to making purchases on like Instagram. So you can use those as complementary channels and also like leverage paid advertising on both platforms actually. It might not be able to do advertising on TikTok because maybe you're using a Nigerian account, but you can actually scale that, and go on and put some money on it on Instagram as well, and test and see what works. Right. So if it's your content that is not good enough, maybe improve on that. Your interaction on the platform as well. Maybe you're using your business account to do different things on those same platforms, so it is confusing your algorithm. So you can adjust that as well. So I think that might work.
Thank you,
Thank you.
James. All right, so off to you.
All right, thank you very much, James, for that response. Just we have a couple of other questions, but we are pressed for time. So what we're going to do is we're going to collect all these questions from every other. I believe we've answered Sylvia's question. We still have Success King's question and a couple of other people who have questions in the chat box. But we will not be able to, except we are going to sleep here, and our speakers are very busy. So yeah, we'll just collate all the questions and do something with it after this webinar, maybe a resource or a Q&A on our Instagram socials, on our LinkedIn rather, or Instagram, wherever. Just stay tuned. You'll get an email after this webinar letting you know what the next steps are going to be. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for being here. First of all, I'd even like to thank